Welcome, everybody, to Future of Beauty Unfiltered. I'm your host, Hannah Cook, Head of Growth and Innovation. And today we are talking with the absolutely gorgeous Silvina Neder on why going grey is empowering, the founder of Silvina London. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you so much. So I'm going to do a little bit of an intro. We're both having a lovely little coffee as we do, so why not? So Silvina, you colored your hair for many years, right? Wasting precious time, money, and energy fighting those growing roots. And then one day decided to give it all up and embrace the grey. Now, by going grey, Silvina found that her confidence grew massively across all aspects of her life. And after a long standing career in marketing, she became a model and a grey hair influencer in her 50s. See, it's never too late to start
Never too late.
anything.
Absolutely,
No.
never too late.
So Silvina, obviously we've spoken already before, but you are incredibly passionate about sharing your own story and want to encourage women to embrace their natural beauty. And as part of this transformation, Silvina recently launched her own hair care range, Silvina London, to offer women products that both nourish and hydrate grey hair. And I love that the brand came as an outcome of this journey that you have been through. So tell me, first of all, what inspired you to embrace your natural hair? Obviously, for anyone that's not watching it in video form, naturally, your hair was very dark.
My hair is naturally really very dark, but to be honest, I didn't know which was the real color of my hair, because I colored my hair since my 20s until my late 40s. So I tried to do highlights and everything to hide my gray hair. So what inspired me? Well, I used to travel a lot when I used to live in Argentina, and I traveled a lot to the US or to Europe, and I saw incredibly smart women with gray hair, something that was unthinkable in a Latin culture like Argentinian culture by that time. But I thought, oh, how beautiful, how smart, how elegant these women are. And I always had that in my mind, and I always thought that if gold, if blonde is a color, why not silver? Silver is a color as well. We use silver for our jewelry as well as gold, so why not a color for the hair? But it was kind of unthinkable. But I had that in the back of my mind. And then I came to London in my late 40s, and it was really tough because I had to get used to the way of working here. I worked in market research by that time. Also getting used to the language, to the culture, to everything. And I really struggled with time. So I found my inspiration, London, so liberating that you can do anything and you can be whatever you want and nobody will look at you. That's fantastic of London. And I really struggled with time. So I said, well, this is my moment. So it was something that I had in the back of my mind. And being in London, that was my chance to do whatever I wanted. And okay, I said, okay, I'm not coloring my hair anymore. And that happened one day that I was supposed to be working from home, working remotely. And I went to the hairdresser to color my hair with my laptop, and I was working there, and suddenly, and I had the color on my head, and my boss called me, Silvina, can you jump into a video call? No, I can't. And I said, what I am doing? I'm risking my job for being coloring my hair. So this is done. And that was the last time I colored my hair in 2015.
Did you ever think that kind of going grey, like, so anyone that's not listening, I'm looking at you now and you have the most stunning head of hair,
Thank you.
beautifully curly. I love the color. It's kind of a star now that a lot of people actually go to the salon to dye their hair to get. But did you ever really think that it would be such a pivotal turning point for you, both professionally and personally, when you kind of had that moment of, I can't keep doing this?
No, not at all. Not at all. I never imagined that. But now that I think backwards, I think it makes sense. Absolutely makes sense because something that we probably will talk after, but it's like stop hiding something from yourself, something that is part of yourself that you kept on hiding. So embracing that and not hiding, like on the other way around, showing that is so empowering and so liberating.
Well, because obviously to age is a privilege, right? And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that. We're constantly seeking in the world nowadays, particularly because of social media and everything else, we're constantly chasing this sense of youth and having this pressure put on us to hold on to that and maintain that. And some women, not all women, we've done research on kind of Gen X women, and this topic comes up a lot, which is I am at the most confident point in my life when I'm in my kind of late 40s, 50s, because I know who I am. I don't have young children running around. I have kind of established myself in my career. I've done all these things. Why should society and social media make me feel like going grey is a weakness and not a strength? And that's something that I think you really embodied. And when we spoke before, I can't imagine. I'm really lucky. I'm literally last night, I was in London all day, and my best friend, the most beautiful woman that I know, long brown hair, but she gets greys in her roots. I went round at 9 o'clock at night and I dyed those roots for her because for her, she can't handle seeing the greys. She's not in that journey yet to embrace that. And that kind of stage that you go through when you are choosing to grow out and embrace your grey hair must be a really, really hard one.
I think it's something that comes like naturally, that you start like questioning why you have to hide that. Like you start to assume, you start thinking about, well, this is not bad before. And one day you wake up and say, I'm not coloring my hair anymore. But it's it's the transition is something that you have to pass, but I think the hard thing is the decision. But the decision, you have to make it when you're ready for that. If you're not ready, if you won't cope with comments from other people or with yourself in front of the mirror, it's not good to you haven't made that decision. You say you will not color, but you have to make internally that decision. And once that decision is made, everything like flows, I think.
Mm. So, talk to us then about how Silvina London, how quickly after embracing that grey hair journey, how did you then realize that there was a gap in the market for your hair care formulation? Like, what was the triggering point for you to go, I'm going through this journey and there's still something here that I need help with?
Yes. Well, when I have my hair gray, when I finish the transition or during the transition, I was looking for. I had to change completely the products I use and the routine, because I used to go for super hydrating products, but I didn't mind. They were not I didn't mind the color. If they had some color, if, for example, I used to use a lot of oils that were like yellowish, and that was not good for white hair. So I had to change completely. And I tried each and every blue or purple shampoo that was on the market, from the mainstream to the most expensive ones. And some of them left a nice silver shade, but my hair super dry. Others, if I didn't switch, for example, one time I used the blue shampoo and then 4 times the normal shampoo, my hair had like blue shades. So it was like something that I couldn't find any good product. At the same time, the conversation about curls started, and I started reading about the curly girl method, the curly method that we don't use silicones, parabens, or sulfates. And I passed there are screens online that you can pass the ingredients of the products. And I pass for example, I like this shampoo, and I passed the screen, and it didn't pass the screen. It had some ingredient that it was not good for curls. So I said, there is no product in the market. And for example, I ordered one from the US, but it took a month to arrive. and it took me ages to go through online and try to find it. So there was not. And also when I went gray, I started modeling and I started my Instagram account. And I started to encourage women to embrace change and embrace aging and all of that. I started to have followers. And all the women with gray hair said, asked for recommendations because they couldn't find any good shampoo. And it was a real issue, like dryness or dryness and blue shades or yellowish or brassiness. So I said, this is a gap in the market. That's when my journey started to find a developer, to find a chemist, because I'm not an expert I'm not a chemist at all. I didn't know anything about ingredients, about developing a product. So I started searching for a laboratory chemist and to learn about those things.
But you did have a big background in consumer insights, right? That's what you'd done for decades before. And so how did kind of that background help you make those decisions in that journey?
Because I said I spent like 25 years finding like discovering insights for other brands, and I say I have all the insights here because all the women wrote to me about their problems, about their concerns with gray hair, about how they feel with gray hair, how they feel empowered, how they feel like reborn. And I say, I have these insights. I need to find a product that fulfills those insights, that satisfies people with these insights. So I said, great.
It's kind of because I think what's really interesting in listening to you speak, it's not that products don't exist, but they're not easy. Hair care is something you should be doing every day, and it should be easy and accessible. Exactly. And you end up with 4, 5, 6 different types of products that you have to chop and change and use. The waste in that alone is high. Before the cost, there should be products out there that allow to give you that look and support the kind of grey and white hair. But not just that, fundamentally, when hair goes grey, it's because the follicle has died. We know this, right? So what the source that the hair needs, the resources, the nutrients, everything to keep it feeling that way, it needs to change. And so having that one product that kind of works all together to support that, I think I totally understand why people were constantly kind of looking for that. And particularly if you then add in, like you say, kind of the curly hair, textured hair, any other kind of hair, you're stacking additional obstacles and additional needs that you're having as you're going through that. But more than simply hair care, your brand is really, it's on a mission, isn't it, to change the narrative for individuals that are considering embracing the grey. And I really enjoyed watching how passionate you got about this last time. Tell me why this narrative is so important to you.
I think because it's when you embrace your gray hair, it's like you assume you want to like live easily. And you said something very important there, like you ditch the dye, you take a problem off, like take a problem out. Sorry for my English, it's my second language. So you leave a problem out, like coloring your hair, like hiding your grays. But now you have another problem: how to keep your hair. And it should. And when you're embracing the gray and ditching the hair, you're also pro living easily, making your life easier. So you cannot have a problem finding a product. So you cannot be swapping and testing and trying and seeing if I use it once, if I use it every twice, if I every 2 weeks, if I use it 5 times one shampoo and the other time the other shampoo. You cannot be thinking of that. We don't want to think. We don't want the hair to be a problem anymore. And I am passionate about simplifying, about embracing this new stage of life where you take things as they are and your life is easier. right? So this is the brand comes from that, like make life easier for people with gray hair, not have to think. And also, what happened to me and to a lot of women, that there are brands of blue shampoo there, but there are like other varieties, other options from a massive brand, right? It's not a brand conceived for gray hair people. It's like, okay, I have curly hair, a curly hair option, I have a straight hair option, I have a gray hair option, I have a colored hair option. It's one more. And this is something for gray hair people, conceived for gray hair people. I felt like those brands were there, but they were not like they didn't know really what happens with when people go gray, when people embrace the gray. Because it's not only solving the problem, it's like celebrating the gray. It's like putting the gray out there and putting like aging there. And it's something like a holistic approach to gray hair and conceived from and for people with gray hair. I don't know if it's that clear.
That does. I mean, I think it's super obvious when you talk about it, but I think when you're going through that, I think the biggest part of embracing that grey hair is, like you say, it's a journey because you physically see the change that you're going through. And not everyone is aware of that. And obviously, Silvina London, it stands out very much as a personal passion project for you in lots of ways. And I think I definitely want to talk about the kind of your modeling experience on the grey hair side and what that was like. And we've obviously spoke about this previously, but transitioning to grey can be really vulnerable. It's a really vulnerable phase for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. Because like we spoke about before, not everyone knows that you're trying to grow that hair out. So what is that journey like?
Well, I think the journey is less difficult as for me at least that I imagined, and it goes really. It's like a process, as you say. It's like I think it's good to see the roots growing, because when you decide to go gray, you wish you are gray from the other day. You wake up the following day and you are gray. But I think it's so nice, it's so good to go through that transition, that I always recommend people who are starting their transition to enjoy it and to embrace it. The most difficult part is when you have like 2, 3, 4 centimeters of growth, that you are not saying, okay, I decided to grow my hair. It can be that you didn't have time to go to color your hair, right?
Tell me a little bit about one of the things that we spoke about last time was your roadmap tool. And why it was important for you to build this into your brand. And actually, I thought it was so thoughtful, and you could see it was written very much from your own personal journey, because I know it sounds really silly, and there are so many worse things in the world than going grey, but to some people, it's a very difficult transition. So tell me more about this roadmap and why you felt it needed to be such a big part of your brand.
Okay. I think that let's go back to the transition. As I was saying, the most difficult part is when you have like 1 or 2 centimeters of growth. So it's not written there that you have decided. So sometimes you have to explain. Sometimes people look at you and you have to explain, yes, I decided to grow my gray hair. And I think that, well, I read a lot of comments from women who ask for help. A lot of women were asking for help. Okay, I want to grow my gray hair, but I don't dare. I don't know. I cannot pass the transition. And one of the barriers is passing the transition. So I said, I learned a lot of things, and I learned that there were a couple of steps that I had to go, a couple of things that I had to have clear in order to go through that transition. And I wrote them, and I tried to put it in like 10 steps, dividing, for example, making the decision, dividing in how, making the decision of going gray, then making the decision of how you will do the transition, and then like styling and learning how to style or wear your new grays. It's 3 steps: making the decision to go gray, then how you will do the transition, how to pass the transition, and then how to wear your new style, because it's a completely new style, a completely new attitude as well. So I thought I had that in my mind, and I put on those steps in my mind when I was going through the transition and say, well, this is great to write it and to share it, because there are a lot of women who need some help, mostly before starting.
Yeah.
Or knowing that if they want to go gray, there is some help out there to go there, because they fear the transition. I feared the transition because before going gray. So knowing that there is a way, there is a help, there is a process to go, it's great.
It's really, you don't really think, I'm blonde, right? So for me, I've always in my head, always been fair. I mean, I'm darker as I get older, but I'm still fair, right? I'm not a brunette. And so in my head, going gray when I'm older, I'm like, yeah, I'm happily going to be white hair, don't care, love it. I'm there for it. However, I can imagine, and it's a guess, right? I can imagine if you have really dark hair, going gray is terrifying, because it's the equivalent of literally flipping your entire color palette.
Yes.
And the makeup you use, the tones you wear. So like you say, you're not just changing and going, oh, that's it, I'm going gray, and that's it. You're changing your complete style. Everything that suited you before, it might not feel like it suits you in the same way. So it really is a complete evolution of how you want to style yourself. How have women responded to kind of having that journey documented? And I think also kind of the warning signs of be prepared. These are the barriers that you're going to hit along the way.
Well, they are really thankful, and they really like it, and I think they make them feel more confident when they decide to go gray. They feel that they are not alone, and they feel that they have someone to ask, to go to if they feel like they want to give up or something like that. One of the most difficult things during the transition are the comments from other people. Usually the comments are good, and usually I carried out the survey. I used to be a market researcher, so I couldn't help carrying out a survey amongst my customers in Silvina London. And when people say they fear what the other people will think. So being prepared for that, having responses to that, having hearing that other people had responded in a certain way. For example, when I was growing my gray hair and I had like the first 4 centimeters, I traveled to Argentina. And I met my friends there in Buenos Aires, and we went to have dinner. And my friend said, Silvina, please go and color your hair. You cannot go, please, I book you an appointment with the hairdresser and you go and color your hair. I'm not coloring my hair. I like it. If you don't want to go out with me, let's order pizza at your place. But I won't color my hair. So if you know that someone else has done it, if you know that someone else has responded in that way, it relieves you, I think. So people responded really, really in a thankful way.
Why do you think it is that, like, why do people have this strange aversion to grey hair?
Well, I think it's connected to getting older, to growing older, and I think it's all the thing with aging, which I think, as we were talking earlier, we take as weaknesses instead of taking it as changes. If we know, okay, let's say gym or marathons are for 30s, not for 50s, we won't be sad because we cannot run as we used to run in our 30s. We cannot, this type of clothes, okay, I'm not saying that you cannot use these clothes, but of course your body changes. It's not the same, but taking it as changes, not as you as
Coming
lose.
later. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm thinking about that because when you are a baby, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Your body is different, but it's fine. But when you're old, it's like, oh no, I don't look like this. We don't embrace getting older, and I think we are very lucky to get older. Many people don't make it, so I think that gray hair is related to that. But once I think also we are very lucky now because it's like trendy, the gray hair, and there are a lot of young people and models that color the hair gray. So that is fantastic. But we have to. It's not about the hair; it's about aging.
Yeah.
The thing that we have to change.
Speaking of modeling, so you embracing your grey hair opened up a whole new career.
Yes.
For you. Tell me, how did that come about?
Well, when I was working in consumer insights in market research, I was trying to do something different, like helping people monetize their passions and those things, and I couldn't like shape that. And at the same time, I had some photos taken for my market research website, and the photographer said, Silvina, you have to be a model because in 5 minutes I have the photos. And then everywhere I went, people say, oh, I love your hair, I love your hair. And I said, I have to do something with this. I was trying to do something different. I have done market research and marketing and PowerPoints and all of those things for 30 years. So I said, I want to change. And when that photographer said that, I said, why not? And I Googled gray hair models, and a lot of agencies popped up. I sent those photos that were for a market research website, so were kind of business photos. On a Tuesday or on a Sunday, I was working, and I discovered that I enjoy it. I enjoy that. It's so nice and I approached that as a newbie, as a beginner. So I was not competing. I was learning. So I was open to learn. I didn't want to demonstrate anything in market research. I had a 30-year career, so I had a name. So I went to congresses, and you always like have to back that career, right? But here I was a newbie. Oh no, I don't know. Can you tell me how to do it? Oh no, I don't know. And so relieving that. So nice to start from scratch something, but it's not easy because you have to let go of the other thing. A lot of people used to tell me, Silvina, you are too smart. You study statistics. You did an MBA. You had a career in market research. How come you can become a model? Okay, I'm not enjoying the other thing very much, and I'm enjoying this. Why not? But I had to let go, and I had to cope with those comments.
And that's I guess that's part of that acceptance and choosing this new version of you. And it's so amazing to hear how but by accepting to go grey, all these other doors and opportunities and ways of thinking were presented to you because you wanted to be more open-minded and embrace a different journey. Something that we haven't really spoken about much yet is the community that you were able to build from your work as a pro-aging influencer. Tell me a little bit about that, and how much have they kind of helped steer your decision to cater into this category?
Well, the community was built from the commitment to help people. I wouldn't say women, people to embrace what they want, to go for what they want, to be truthful with themselves, with their desires, because it didn't, for example, it didn't make sense for me to continue working in market research when I was enjoying modeling. And the other thing, I felt that the industry changed and a lot of things, so I was enjoying this. So like talking about that, a lot of women started saying, "Oh, Silvina, you mentioned that, and it's happening to me as well." And it happened, and it was people very involved, very committed, and very thankful for that. And also during COVID, a lot of women couldn't go to color their hair, so there were a lot of women going gray, and they say, "Silvina, you helped me realize that I won't look bad. I can look great with gray hair," and that relieved me. And there were people that were very, very, very thankful. And you asked me how did this help me go into the industry, because they talk about, every time they talk about gray hair, they talked about the struggle to find the good products, and it was my struggle as well. So I say, well, I always helped companies build brands. I will build my brand based on an insight, based on insight and on a good product.
And a journey and a purpose as well.
Exactly, a journey and a purpose. I always I tell when I launched my Silvina London a year and a half ago, more or less, one person approached me to like take the brand, like giving me all his team, and for example, okay, we will make the decisions based on tests. And I said, no, this is my brand. I don't want my main purpose. Of course, I want to make money and I make a living on my brand, but my main purpose is to give the best products to gray hair people, and are the products that I use every day. So I said no when someone said it was something like it would pursue profit. No, my goal is not profit. It's like having the best products for gray hair people. And then profit comes, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want my product and product for gray hair people. Yeah.
So it's so lovely listening. It's really heartfelt listening to kind of your journey, because it's a simple thing. And to some, it doesn't seem like a big issue, but to others, it's actually very emotionally difficult and a journey. And there's lots of emotions within that. But when you get to that point where you've committed to it, it must be so, so empowering. I have loved talking to you. I have one more question.
Yes.
Give one piece of advice to marketers listening today, what would it be?
What would it be? Care for the product. Careful to having the right products. If the product is right, if the product really solves the problem the people have, it will grow. Now we are bombarded bombarded by tools like emailing and those things, and SMS and all the things that you have to be online and doing social media and doing this and doing that. It's so overwhelming. And I'm feeling, because I'm managing my brand, and it's very overwhelming. And I feel that, for example, it will come a moment when, for example, emailing will be over and SMS will be over and we have to do something else. If the product is good, it will survive all that. The product is based on insights, and really solving the problem and really investing in the product. Investing in a good product, not launching product because people have to have news and hear about the brand. And of course, they have to hear about the brand. If we don't tell the brand is here, people are doing other things and don't remember the brand. But products has to have a reason why. If not, it will be very expensive to survive, I think.
That's really lovely. It's so simple. And I think people forget about it all the time. And I think reminding people that let the product stand on its own 2 feet And then it actually has a bit more of a chance of standing the social media changes that are constantly coming in the marketing space.
Exactly. Social media and tools and online tools is so fast. And also taking the clients, the consumer as your peers. Like, for example, when a woman writes to me, Silvina, I use the shampoo, but I noticed this, and I help her. I help her, okay, try to use a little bit less, a little bit more, whatever. I listen to them. And I'm very happy that we are doing the fulfillment from our home. My husband helps me. That we didn't give that to a third party. I'm so happy because we learned so much. We learned so much, and we can, for example, solve the things. For example, I had clients that say, okay, I'm traveling tomorrow to the beach and I would like to take it. Okay, where you live? Let me try to send you that today. Let me tell you. Yeah, because I commit with the client.
Yeah, the community, absolutely.
Exactly.
Silvina, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much.
Same for me, Hannah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your journey. It really is so inspiring, and I can't wait to share it with anyone else that's going on that journey. Guys, we hope you've enjoyed listening to the podcast today. If you have any questions, please, as always, get in touch at podcast@thepoolagency.co.uk, and we'll see you next time.